All right, and we're back on the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith. Carter, how we doing, man?
Good, man. Good. It's a nice little Wednesday, middle of the week hump day, and get you through to the weekend here soon. I got a little bit of football action about to kick off for you here, and just been a really good day, man. Just went through, got some things done, got home, had some chicken parm for dinner, and just getting ready for football to kick off and for it to finally be football time this week.
Well, with this week, it kicks off 55 days in a row. That's good. And chicken parm, didn't know you had the culinary skills on the chicken
Yeah,
parm side of
I
things.
can cook some stuff up here and there. Most of my cooking is stuck to the Blackstone or the smoker or the grill, so I'm more of an outside guy. But I can cook up a little chicken parm or a little Italian dish every now and then. But just depends on how the mood strikes me.
Oh,
But how
hey,
about you, man? How's your day going?
doing good. Got everything around and situated for the show. Did a lot of yard work today, so
Yeah, yeah.
can't can't really complain too awful
Getting
much.
ready. And before we get kicked off, just thoughts and prayers to anybody who's tuning in or has family down in Florida. I know that hurricane's about to hit the Tampa area or has started hitting the Tampa area, and it's they just got hit with that Helene that ended up going up north to North Carolina and Tennessee, and now they're getting hit with another bigger one. That I got a couple friends down there that are hunkered down and they got it all ready to go. So if you know anybody down there, prayers are going out to them, and hopefully everybody stays safe and it's not as bad as what people are expecting.
Yeah, I echo that same sentiment. Hopefully, everybody down there is doing well. Tough times. Just be safe, and hopefully, everybody can get through and come out on the other end of this
Absolutely.
on a
But a lot
positive
of lot of
note.
stuff going on in the sports world while we kind of take our minds off kind of the seriousness of everything going on. But I don't know if you saw this, but excuse me, but I saw this going around social media, and obviously we talked about it on Monday. Michigan got handed another L to against Washington this past weekend on a nice little road game in Washington State. And apparently their coaches were not having it from some of the heckling from the fans here. So let me throw this up there, see if you've seen it. I'm sure probably most people have, but let me just throw it up here. Let me know what you think.
Like, why am I in the head? Like, they scared it. Whatever you guys don't know, you better chill the fuck out before you get fucked up straight like that. Hey, we're good. We're good.
He said, whatever you guys are saying, you better chill the fuck out before you get fucked up. Okay, coach. I don't know
That
how you feel, but it's not a good look, man.
the director of high school relations, as what I had heard.
Mm. Yeah, I've heard he's been around the college football coaching industry for about 20 years. He's been with Michigan for about 10. And from all accounts, Michigan people are, of course, coming out in full defense of the guy, saying, this guy's a stand-up guy. If he got pushed to that limit, I wonder what they were saying. I don't give a fuck what they're saying. Like, you're a professional. Ignore the noise, or tell somebody on the security staff, like, hey, those guys over there, just go tell them to settle down. Don't go threaten some fans. Come on, man. Be better. Be better than that. Like, that's not, you shouldn't stoop down to their level telling them that, if they don't chill out, you're going to fuck them up. Like, come on, man. First of all, how old are you? If you've been in coaching for 20 years, you're damn near pushing 45 at least. And you're going to go talk to some college kids and tell them that you're going to mess them up if they keep talking. Like, it's just a bad look, man. It's soft as hell. And that's pretty indicative of where Michigan's program is right now, if you ask me.
Yeah, that's how do I want to say this? It's just not a good look. Unprofessional, and I believe that guy's the director of high school relations. I'm sure he's probably going to get reprimanded, or
I would hope so.
with it being Michigan, probably nothing will happen.
Yeah, I mean, Well, in good news, I mean, the good news is he didn't get a DUI. So, I mean, that's a step up from most of their coaching staff, right? So,
Yeah,
that's good.
yeah.
And he didn't beat his pregnant girlfriend like the guys down in Georgia. So, we're looking for the small victories here for Michigan.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that is
not to take it
that's a
down
big
there, but
that's a big,
that's crazy. I didn't even write that in the show notes. We can go a little off script here, but that's crazy, man. And listen, let me first say, I don't know anything about the situation as far as if the kid did it. If he didn't do it, I think that the kid should get a legal process, due process should go through. And if he did it and there's evidence saying he did it, he should be punished by the law and by the university and by college football. If he didn't do it, he should face no punishment, whatever. I get that. But what I'm talking about is just Georgia's program as a whole. Like, it's a pattern of just negligence and bad behavior and just constant in the news arrests for reckless driving, speeding. We had 2 kids die in a racing accident. Now, pregnant girlfriends are getting beat, whether or not they actually got beat or not. I'm not here to pass judgment on that. But it's just constantly that program is in the news for, I mean, in some cases, worse shit than what Urban had going on at Florida. And I was told by everybody in the world that Urban ran a dirty program full of convicts and thugs and all this stuff. And now you're going to, and now Kirby Smart, he seems to get a pass. Nobody's really talking to him.
The Georgia situation, the guy with the alleged girlfriend incident,
Mhm.
I think that in my opinion, I sit on the fence of let law enforcement do their
Yeah.
job.
Oh, 100%.
So
I
I
will
think
always
that's
sit on that fence. Yeah, 100%. I'm not saying he should be punished. I think maybe a suspension while the investigation's conducted. Okay, whatever. I mean, I'd hate to have him suspended and miss games, and the investigation turns out that it's completely fabricated, and that then he missed those games. That's not really fair to him. But I can understand a suspension while the investigation goes on because he is accused of these crimes. But at the same time, I'd rather let it play out, just like they did with Mo Hall up in Cleveland. I mean, obviously, NFL is a different thing. The NFL is protected by the shield. The coaches don't have to answer for the players' actions. The NFL kind of takes that brunt away from them. But there's a deep rooted issue in the culture at Georgia right now, and it's not being addressed. And these kids keep going off and doing these things. Whether or not he did this, I'm not saying he did, but there's constantly another. I mean, I feel like it's every week there's another arrest or another charge or another something down in Georgia. And if that's taught me anything, it's that I'm about to put a bunch of money on Georgia winning the Natty.
Yeah, it's a wait and see. So, it's just it's a tough situation all the way around. Nobody should really have to deal with that on either end.
No,
I guess
be convicted and all that. If he didn't do it, then she should be convicted for lying. Like, there's too many incidents of people being accused of stuff like this, and then it turns out to be false, and it ruined the kid's life or career. For us not to at least sit back and say, okay, let's wait for law enforcement and the legal process to do its thing. Like, that's all. I'm not saying he should get away with it.
Oh, I'm just saying as a whole. I think that
Yeah.
I think Georgia probably goes to zero tolerance. So that's just
Reuben Foster is absolutely a prime example. Thank you, Richie. Dude was a bona fide first round pick, got falsely accused of domestic violence or whatever, and it ruined his career. Never got back.
Yep.
But moving on, staying in the SEC here. I don't know if you saw this, but could Texas A&M be headed to the playoffs? One national media pundit seems to think so. This brings up a bigger discussion. Joel Klatt from Fox Sports said that they have a good shot to make the CFP right now. In fact, he would put money on it. I wonder if he actually did. But, I mean, could Texas A&M make the playoffs?
Well, let me pull up the schedule, and I should have had you add this in, but I forgot.
Oh, you're good.
But
You're good.
we'll
Trying to remember. I pulled it up earlier. But obviously, they have some pretty big wins. Their one loss is to a pretty good team so far. Obviously, that stupid Northern Illinois game doesn't help them. But
yeah, that's that is a tough blemish on the record right now. Texas
oh,
A&M
for sure.
is 5-1. They've got they got
They're
they
on
got
a
to
bye
go.
this week, right?
Yes, they got to go to Starkville.
Yeah, I thought so.
Then they got
That's a
LSU
dub.
at home. And
They
then
could win that. I mean, LSU hasn't been.
That's not
South Carolina.
an unwinnable game at all. South Carolina.
Yeah.
Then they have the fighting other Aggies of New Mexico State. They got that at Kyle Field, and then they travel to Jordan Hare to go see Hugh Freeze and the Auburn Tigers. And then
Deuce Night.
yeah, the
and then they finish up with the rivalry game with Texas, huh?
Yep, they finish with Texas.
So, I mean, yeah, realistically, if they beat LSU, I think they could win all the other games except maybe Texas. You're talking about a 10-2 A&M team with wins over Mizzou, LSU, Arkansas, Florida. I mean,
that's a pretty
close loss. That's a pretty good resume right there.
And I'll save, because I have another part of this that falls into the Notre Dame segment, and I'll save my thoughts on that. But Texas A&M, those are winnable games. It's kind of unbelievable how far the program has ascended since Elko has taken over.
Right?
I think Texas A&M has done nothing but get better and better each week. I don't think Wegman was 100% healthy, so
yeah,
I think I called into somebody's podcast and told him I think Wegman was gonna be a Heisman candidate. Okay, he's probably not gonna be a candidate, but but it'll be something if they could turn this thing around and make it to the CFP.
Yeah. They absolutely could backdoor their way into this thing.
So as far as I'm concerned, Texas A&M is a team that controls their own destiny along with Notre Dame. They got Texas at the end of the year, but let's say they end up, going 10-2. Notre Dame, possible CFP team.
Mm-hmm.
If
their two losses would be to Notre Dame and Texas, like the number 1 team in the nation and probably a top 10 team if they went out. Like find me a team with 2 better losses than that.
Yeah, so Texas A&M could be a dark horse getting in there, and then it also, me and Richie talked about it on yesterday's program. We had said that and I know you were listening, but for the people that are tuning in new today, you've got you have the tiers of teams. You have the undefeated teams, and then you have the 1-loss teams. And then if you have once you hit that tier of 2 losses, that instantly puts you, 1 loss doesn't kill you like, with the Georgias, the Alabamas right now. But if you hit that tier with 2 losses, it's panic time, because you got to win out, because I think the CFP is not going to put a 3-loss team in. Because I think
I don't think 3 losses can get you in. I think there's going to be too many teams with 1 or 2 losses for a 3-loss team to get in this year.
Because the only team I can make an argument that would get in over Texas A&M would be Clemson. I think they're a sneaky team. Miami and Georgia would be your only losses.
Yeah, assuming those. Yeah, I mean that would have a similar resume. Obviously, Miami and Georgia are both, I mean, they're similar to Notre Dame, and assuming Texas runs the table and is, a top 4 team, wins the SEC or whatever, then you're talking about they lost to the SEC champ in Texas, and then a playoff team in Notre Dame, and then Clemson would have the loss to Miami in the ACC championship game and the loss to Georgia, who's a CFP team, I'm sure. So yeah, those will be pretty similar resumes there, and I think you could get both of them in, honestly.
And on McCready and Siskey, they pointed this stat out when it comes to strength of schedule. When you start looking at that, Clemson is one of the very few teams that plays 10 Power 4 opponents this year.
Really?
Yeah. So I think on strength.
Because what, the ACC plays 9 conference games, and then they play Georgia, obviously.
Yep, they play 9 conference games, and then Georgia, and then 2. So I think Clemson.
Wouldn't a lot of Big Ten teams have 10? Because they play 9 conference games. Now, obviously, Ohio State didn't play a Power 4 out of conference, but like Michigan did.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and really dive into the schedules. But I think Clemson's got, with anything, I think Clemson has a bigger chance than anybody to make that case for a 2 or a 1-loss team to make the conference.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I think they definitely would have that argument, especially with their 1 loss right now being to Georgia, and then assuming their only other losses to like Miami in the ACC title game. 100%, you'd get probably Miami and Clemson in from the ACC. You're looking at possibly Notre Dame as a at-large, and then you're looking at obviously the champs from the Big Ten, SEC, and Big 12, and then that puts you at 5, 6, and then the group of 5, 7. So there's still 5 slots. So you probably put another 2 Big Ten teams in and 3 more SEC teams.
Yeah, that's the way I think it's going to shake out. I think the ACC's got a case for 2. I don't think the Big 12 will have a case for 2 because I think too many of their top teams play each other.
Yeah.
Late.
I mean, unless you have, because they're all going to beat each other up, and then you're going to have somebody. I don't even know if they're going to have an undefeated team in the championship game. It'll probably be 2 1-loss teams, and then I don't know. We'll see, but it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. But yeah, I think obviously Clemson's best chance is just go win the ACC, then you're automatically in. But I think they could get in with 2 losses either way. But moving on to, do you know who the best football team in America is right now?
Oh, I'm reading this graphic. Talk about transitive.
I know you love the transitive property. That's why I put this in specifically for you. Did you know that the UConn Huskies just won the Natty in the college basketball, best team in college football this year? And here's why. I'll show you. I know you love transitive property. That's 100% why I put this in. There you have it. Because UConn beat Buffalo, who beat Northern Illinois, who beat Notre Dame, who beat A&M, who beat Missouri, who beat Vandy, who beat Alabama. So basically, UConn beat Alabama. UConn, best team in the country. Put it on the board.
I think Chris and Zach did this one time for 2014, and it was it turned out to be like Georgia Tech or something like that, and they were
I think
5
so.
and 7.
Yeah, because 2014 Virginia Tech beat Ohio State. Somebody beat Virginia Tech, somebody else beat them, and Georgia Tech beat them or something. Yeah. I know. Exactly. Transitive property doesn't work, but I just thought it was funny because this is exactly what you talk about all the time, hating. And it's like, no, man, UConn's the best team in America. They can go toe-to-toe with anybody. Put them in the playoffs. Let's go.
I think UConn's independent, too. I just don't know why they're not in the American, but what do I know?
Because, man, too much money. I don't know. Probably not the case with them, but anyways, getting into some action. Get ready for a lot of games coming up this weekend. This might be the biggest weekend in college football. Last weekend was supposed to be a bit of a snooze fest. It was absolutely anything but that. This weekend has been built up to be the massive weekend. This is probably the best slate of games you're going to get all year. I mean, from start to finish, starting Friday night all the way until Saturday night late. I mean, you have just banger after banger. But starting with tonight's game.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Liberty FIU was a banger last night. We had an overtime.
You're right.
Because I already know you were sitting there thinking, man, I should probably watch like some stand-up or something, but I just can't take my eyes off the Liberty Flame.
I got to be honest with you. I did not watch a single second of that game. And I'm mad. I completely forgot that there's football every night, so I didn't even look for it. I was with my kids, and then I put them to bed. I sat down. I watched a couple. I don't know if you heard. Have you ever heard of the show Tulsa King?
Yes, I've heard of that.
Yeah. So Sylvester Stallone is like a gangster or whatever. So I sat down. I hadn't watched the past couple episodes, so I sat down and watched an episode of that. And then, buddy, I was exhausted from having those kids, so I went to bed. So I missed that entire Liberty game. I did see, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe, Liberty won?
Yes, Liberty did win in overtime. So
that's what I thought.
So Liberty goes to 5-0.
Who was at Liberty? Do you know who the coach is, or who was the coach? Isn't that where Lane Kiffin was once upon a time?
No, Lane was at FAU.
Oh, that's right, FAU. I thought Liberty had a coach I should know. I don't remember why I thought that, but
yeah.
In other news, as you looked that up, New Mexico State just took a 3-0 lead on Jacksonville State. And so we can talk about that game a little bit real quick. Obviously two lesser known opponents, but New Mexico State is, do you know who the quarterback for New Mexico State was last year?
Diego Pavia.
The Mexican Manziel himself, Diego Pavia, who just beat Alabama.
He's 2-0 against the state of Alabama.
Against the state of Alabama. He beat Auburn last year as New Mexico State's quarterback, and then he beat Bama this year as Vandy's quarterback. The Mexican Manziel is what they're calling him, because he rocks that number 2. He runs around like Manziel. But this game, I mean, it should be an entertaining game. Jacksonville State's usually a decent team. I know they have that kid Tyler Huff, who's been just lighting it on fire. I mean, he's got like 1,300 yards in 5 games.
He ran for like 150 yards against Kennesaw
He's their
State.
leading rusher. He's rushed for almost 500 yards too.
But it's the Rich Rod offense.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's right. Jacksonville State is Rich Rod, isn't it?
Yes, the fighting Rich
Rod.
Rods.
Yeah, buddy. He's coming back to West Virginia. I'm telling you.
He might. Jamie Chadwell is the coach at Liberty.
That's not the one I'm thinking of. I wonder who I'm thinking of. But anyways, I digress. But yeah, Jacksonville State was favored by like 21, I believe. I did not put any money on it. I would have hammered Jacksonville State minus 21. And right now, I mean, it's early, but I'm thankful I didn't do that as of now.
So
we'll see, though.
Some of us bet this game, but
oh yeah.
What do you got? The points. I took Jacksonville State in the points. We'll see.
Yeah, well, that's what I was leaning towards. I just didn't do it because I was like, dude, I have a problem. Like, I don't bet on games that I don't know anything about, and like I know Jacksonville State, like I know Rich Rod's there. I know that their quarterback's been pretty good, so that's why I was like leaning towards taking it. Then I sat there and I was like, dude, I haven't really watched any Jacksonville State, and I definitely haven't watched any New Mexico State. So I honestly am just betting blind. Obviously, Vegas knows what they're doing, so I'm sure Jacksonville State will win, but I don't know if they're going to cover. And so I just didn't do it. But I'm rooting for you, man.
Oh, yeah. I as you know, I like Group of 5 football. So some people hate it. I actually like it because, the Sun Belt always has good games on throughout the week. The MAC has good games on throughout the week. Some people say, oh, it's just bad football. I don't know how you can watch that. Well, 90% of your NFL rosters are made up of these guys. So
I don't know if it's 90. Is it 90? That seems high.
But you know what I'm saying? Undrafted guys.
Oh yeah.
So a lot of these guys don't get the pub or stuff that they deserve. Boise State's doing a really good job of promoting the running back right now for a Heisman campaign. I will say that.
As they should. He's a freaking monster. I mean, the dude's not even fair. Like, he'd be a cheat code in CFB 25.
So I just, I don't mind I'll watch any type of football, but
Yeah, so will
I
I.
would.
It's like pizza, man. Even bad pizza is pizza, right?
Yeah.
So like even bad football is football. I'll still watch it.
Yes.
But
yeah. So moving on.
yeah. So then tomorrow night, or not tomorrow night, Friday night. I mean, tomorrow there's a couple games that I didn't really look into too closely. A bunch of Group of 5 teams. But Friday night, 10:30 p.m. Nice little late night. Pac-12 after dark, if that was still a conference. But you got the Utah Utes taking on the Arizona State Sun Devils in Mountain America Stadium.
Yes, I am.
Now, this one's an interesting game to me. I'm actually very interested. I know Utah is favored by 6 right now, but I think this might be a close game. I mean, I think I like Arizona State. I like what Arizona State's doing. They got that quarterback, Levitt or whatever. He's been throwing the ball well. And then that running back Scattaboo, who I really like him. A white running back, can't hate on that. But obviously Utah is kind of the favorite still in the Big 12. They were highly thought of. And Arizona State, they're Big 12 now, right?
Yes, Arizona State is Big 12.
Okay, I'm sorry. I can't keep up with all these conference shifting.
So pretty much the majority of the pack, to make it easy,
the majority went to the Big 12, except for like Cal went to the ACC and Stanford went to the ACC, and then obviously the 4 schools that went to the Big 10.
The academic schools went to the ACC. The 4, I would say, the LA schools in the Pacific Northwest went to the Big 10.
And then the 4 other ones that left went to the Big 12, and then there's the 2 that didn't get invited anywhere.
So the mountain schools, basically. So Utah, Colorado, in the desert, or in the Big 12 now.
Arizona State, yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So I'm trying to see if Cam Rising is playing this weekend.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Which, with it being 6, the Mormon MILF Hunters brothers probably playing. If I was assuming.
What is that? Wilson?
Yes.
Isaac Wilson? Yeah.
Yes, Isaac Wilson.
God, he looks kind of like Zach, too. Oh, man. Poor guy. I mean, it can't be much worse, right?
No. For everybody out there watching, Jacksonville State Indian Zone, let's go.
Oh, here we go. There we go.
We're rolling.
You're a big Cowboys fan, right?
Cowboys.
So wait, I know Rising. I don't think he is playing. They gave an update and they said we'll see what happens, but there's a chance. But they've been saying that for every week since last year. Doesn't sound like he's going to play. Cam Rising's going to play. Now, here's a question. Is this absolutely the last year for Cam Rising? This is his 7th year in college football.
I think you know how old Cam Rising is?
He's 26, isn't he?
You're
25.
Going into what was it, 2018?
Mm-hmm.
One of your relatives was still coaching when he came in spring ball. That's how old Cam Rising is.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. So yeah, he's got to be like 25, 25 probably.
If he shuts it down this year, I'm pretty sure he's been granted another year.
No way. How?
Yeah, it'd be 8 years because it would be a medical red shirt.
He's already had like 3 of those. You don't just get unlimited medical red shirts, right?
Hey, man, talk to the NCAA. Don't kill the messenger.
No, I'm pretty sure you could only get like 1 of those, maybe 2. And he already had his red shirt, his COVID year, his medical red shirt. Like, there's no more red shirts, guys. We're done. It's over.
Hey,
you can't have a 30-year-old going out there playing against 18-year-olds. It's not fair.
So, I don't.
Yeah, he is 25. He'll be 26 on May 13th, which is my mom's birthday, by the way.
So
happy birthday, Cam Rising and my mom.
Right. So
That's
but
insane.
I think he'll
Oh,
come
the
back and
line.
play.
Damn. When I wrote these show notes, which was only a couple hours ago, the line was Utah -6. It's already down to Utah -4.
So he's not playing then.
Yeah, so Cam's not playing. So I think that'll be a real interesting game, especially with Cam Rising out. Assuming he's out, I obviously haven't gotten official word that he's out, but I think I like Arizona State in this game. I got to tell you, and that'll make Colin, my brother, really happy as an Arizona State guy because he went there. I just like him. I think this quarterback they got. Let me see, what year is he? Sam Leviett. He's a freshman. Yeah, I thought he was a true freshman, dual threat guy. Decent rushing. I mean, not Jaden Daniels dual threat, but
The fighting Kenny Dillingham's.
yeah. But this, I wouldn't be surprised. This Levitt guy, he'll probably be in a bigger school here in a couple years. Arizona State is the minor league system for all the big schools. You know that, right?
I wouldn't say that. I think that they could be competitive if they would just, get their stuff together, get it together down there or out there.
No, I mean, but that's what they do. They make these guys, and then they all transfer out. Like Jaden Daniels, there's a whole host of them. I mean, who was it? It wasn't Chip Trainum. Was it Chip Trainum? I don't remember. But there's a bunch of other guys.
So here's an interesting tidbit. When Jaden Daniels, there's that video out there. If you want to, you can probably find it somewhere. But Jaden Daniels went from Heisman Trophy winner, second pick in the draft, to Arizona State teammates raiding his locker after he entered the transfer portal. I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you remember.
I remember that happening. Yeah, I saw that. They were not very happy. But the funny thing is, Jaden Daniels' mom is the reason that what's his name, Antonio Pierce, has an 8-year show cause, right?
Oh, it was his mom?
Yeah, Jaden Daniels' mom is the one that leaked or that put out the information that they were cheating and got all those coaches in trouble.
Well,
yeah. I mean, oh well. Whatever. But I just thought it was funny. I was like, damn, really, dude left you for a better looking girl and then put all your shit out there.
Yeah, that's, as some people would say on Monday Night Football or on the Sean Salisbury show, that is tough sledding.
Mm-hmm. But that's your kickoff game for the weekend, at least with ranked opponents. Obviously, we're watching Jacksonville State right now, which Jacksonville State, for anybody who doesn't know, not in the state of Florida, so not in the Hurricanes' path. That's actually in Alabama. Very confusing, I know.
Also, real quick, tomorrow night, the James Madison Bulldogs, we're going to talk about this. We'll talk about this after the game happens, but the James Madison Bulldogs are taking on the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers.
Oh, I did see that.
That is a big Sun Belt game with big implications. So,
yep. Absolutely. Love the Sun Belt. Go James Madison, baby.
Let's go, Dukes.
But moving into kind of our Saturday lineup and what we got going on Saturday. One of the noon games that I'm really interested in, and I'm interested in for a lot of reasons. I'm surprised the spread is as high as it is, honestly, because it right now it's -21, and you got the Alabama Crimson Tide after just losing to Vanderbilt, coming back, trying to get some redemption against the South Carolina Gamecocks, and you got Bama favored by 21 in that game. I think it's got to be. I mean, Bama has to be out for blood, man. I mean, they got to come out and they got to show everybody that they're not. I mean, in order to make the playoffs, they need to start making statements.
Yeah. When it comes down to this, I I'm kind of torn. I think they need an impressive win, but also I think, each week in each league is very competitive, and I think you
Mhm.
just need a win here. If you're
Oh
Kalen
yeah,
DeVore to ride the ship, you need a win. And
yeah. Well, the good
if
news is you beat Georgia, right? So you only have one loss in the SEC. SEC title is not out of the question. You could still win the SEC if you go out and take care of business the rest of the way.
so, here's something. Here's a scenario that I don't know if it plays out. Let's say Georgia and Bama both win out, right?
Uh-huh.
If they both win out and Texas runs the table, that means Bama goes in to
Well,
the
Texas
SEC.
plays Georgia, so they both
Yeah.
can't win out.
So let's just say Georgia loses to Texas and goes to 2 losses, and
Yeah.
Bama's got to play Texas. Does that let
Mhm.
Georgia off the hook by not playing in the SEC championship game?
I don't think so. Because I was about to say no, and then I thought about it. Because I was going to say, because Bama will have a loss to Texas, Georgia will have a loss to Bama and Texas. The way the CFP's done this in the past, I think Bama would get in over Georgia just because of the head-to-head victory.
Mm-hmm.
However, Georgia has two or a more impressive loss than Alabama's loss to Vandy, right? Because losing to Alabama is more impressive. But I think that head-to-head matchup, Bama has to get in over Georgia if they're tied at the end of the year.
So because the question I have is, well, is it better to miss the conference championship game and be 10-2, and let's just say you play a Penn State or a Clemson if you're Georgia?
As opposed to what? Go to the conference championship, lose, and play who?
Well, go to the conference championship and play Texas.
Well, yeah, but then I'm assuming in both scenarios you get in the playoffs, right? Or are you saying by playing
Yeah.
Texas in the okay? Yeah, so
Yeah.
no, it's definitely I'd rather go to the conference championship because even if I lose the conference championship, I'm still going to be playing like a Penn State or something like that, right?
Yeah, because you would get
But
an
you
extra.
just, I guess you're saying by missing the conference championship, you get that bye week.
Yeah, you would probably get 2 or 3 or 2
Yeah.
extra weeks off.
Yeah.
Is it better to have
instead
2
of-
weeks off or play? Me personally, I think it's better to play.
I mean, it depends on the state of your team at that time. I think I would say, and no coach is ever going to tell you it's better to miss the opportunity at winning the conference because if you go to play Texas and you beat them, now you got a bye week into the final 8. So absolutely, you'd rather play that game. But if you're guaranteed to lose the conference championship game, then maybe it's better to, assuming that you're getting in the playoff either way. So either you lose to Texas and you're in, or you miss the conference championship and you're in. I guess hypothetically missing the conference championship would be better because it's going to give you more time to rest and heal. And after a 12-week season or 13, 14-week season, you're going to need that time to get people healthy and get back on track. It's just you're never going to hear a coach say, well, now that we've lost one, we don't want to make the conference championship game, because especially in the scenario of the Big Ten, SEC, conference champions are guaranteed a bye, so you're going to want to play for that opportunity. But
real quick here, since a couple weeks ago I wasn't checking my phone when things happen. The Pittsburgh Penguins on this just came across ESPN. They hold a tribute to Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau on opening night.
Well, that's good. Good for them.
Columbus Blue Jacket that lost his life, and I know you being down in
yeah,
Columbus.
I'm a huge Blue Jackets fan, so that story I've followed very closely. I was a big Johnny Hockey fan. I loved his game. I liked him as a person. What he did by coming to Columbus was absolutely monumental. And not to get too much into hockey because it's not really our forte, but I love hockey. And I know the Blue Jackets are starting their season tomorrow night. Regular season kicks off or whatever, puck drops, however you want to call it. But it was a really monumental signing for the city of Columbus because kind of the stigma around Columbus is similar to what Cleveland has, where a lot of people say big time free agents don't want to come and play in Columbus. And a lot of the big time players that were drafted to Columbus or the Columbus had traded for when their contracts were up, they left to go other places because they didn't want to necessarily play in Columbus anymore. And so when Johnny Gaudreau, who was the biggest name in free agency that season, coming out of, I believe he was with Montreal, or no. Shit, I forget where he was, but somewhere in Canada.
Calgary.
That's it. Yes, he was a Flame. When he came up for free agency, and nobody was even really talking about the Blue Jackets as a destination for him. Everybody's like, oh, Boston, New York, all the big markets. And when he came out and said, I want to be in Columbus, and even the Blue Jackets talked about it, they're like, we weren't even pursuing him. And their agent kind of reached out to us, and we were like, oh, this is a possibility. And then we made it happen. And it was just a big moment for the franchise to have somebody as high profile as Johnny Gaudreau pick Columbus specifically as where he wants to go play hockey. It was really meaningful. It never matriculated on the ice as much as people had hoped. A lot because the ownership and management of the Blue Jackets is completely inept. So nothing that Johnny did wrong. And then obviously the tragedy happens this summer. He's out in Jersey, and unfortunately an impaired driver hits him and his brother. He has a young daughter, and his brother's wife was expecting their first child, and it's just absolutely tragic what happened. So, and you know what, I'm not at all shocked that the Penguins did that. The Penguins are a first-class organization, so not at all shocked that they would do something like that. Absolutely deserved by Johnny or for Johnny, and really good on the Penguins organization for doing that.
Yeah, so it is a very tough situation, and we'll go to kind of like our little intermediate show break here. If you're watching out there on Twitter, come on over to YouTube and join the conversation, and hit the like and subscribe button. That helps grow the show as well. So, we're trying out this new format. We're going six days a week this week. Maybe Carter and Richie will go 7. So we're definitely putting the content out of there as football season ramps up. So we're working behind the scenes to get everything put together to deliver you guys a good show. So if you could hit the like and subscribe button, that helps us grow the show. And thanks.
Absolutely. Appreciate all the support. I got to show this because this is my guy G, and he's obviously rooting for Coastal tomorrow night. Now I got to put G on blast a little bit here. Him and I were having a conversation with some other people in a group chat earlier today about some breakfast cereals, and he said Cinnamon Toast Crunch is overrated. And I just
100% it's overrated.
Bro, I can't I can't do the show. I'm gonna have to go. What are you talking about?
Real quick here. What do you mean it's overrated? It's Captain Crunch. It's Corn Flakes. It's
no Cinnamon Toast Crunch, bro, not Captain Crunch.
Who wants No.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch is elite.
And maybe if you're a 30-year chain smoker.
What are you talking about? It's cinnamon and sugar.
It's horrendous.
Oh my god, this is an awful take. Awful take.
What do you mean it's an awful take? Cinnamon. I don't eat a whole bunch of cereal, but the first thing I'm thinking of is Cinnamon Toast Crunch. What is this?
It's the most elite cereal there is.
If you eat cinnamon Toast Crunch every day, you're going to end up on heavyweights.
Well, for sure. I don't eat it ever, but if I was going to have cereal, that's what I'm having.
Carter, we've got to rework your breakfast food intake here, man.
Well, I don't eat it, all right? I don't eat. I told him afterwards, we were having this big debate about cereal, and I was like, I got to be honest, guys, I haven't had a bowl of cereal in like 15 years, so I don't really know. But I remember back when I was eating cereal, Cinnamon Toast Crunch was the elite of the elite.
No, it's not.
Yeah, okay, name one cereal better.
Cheerios.
Get the... All right, everybody, that's how Duke feels. Like that. Come on, can we take this opinion? Guy just said Cheerios. Yeah, thank you, Richie. Brand Crunch or whatever the hell you're eating. Get out of here. Anyways,
Cinnamon Toast Crunch is like a mid-tier of cereals. It's like a group of 5 cereal.
Bro, Cinnamon Toast Crunch is Alabama. It's Georgia.
No, it's not.
Like,
No.
like it
You're
is the number one program in the country.
You are completely misguided in this whole cereal debate.
my
You
God.
are outmanned,
Anyways.
outgunned, outwitted.
No,
You showed up-
now I'm not. I got Richie on my side now. It's 2-2 now. We need
Richie's
some other
part.
people.
Richie's part of the show. He doesn't count.
What, are we just gonna treat him like Pat now?
Well, whatever he doesn't agree with me.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, let's get back to some sports talk. That's enough cereal talk and how Duke's wrong. We do have one of the bigger rivalries in sports this weekend. The old Red River shootout, which I will never call it the Red River rivalry. You guys are ridiculous for even trying to make me say that. It's, first of all, it's too many R's in a row. Second of all, why can't we call it a shootout? I don't get it. There's nothing wrong with a shootout. Like, it's not telling people to go shoot people. Relax. Anyways, got the Red River shootout this weekend. 3:30 p.m. The Texas Longhorns taking on the Oklahoma Sooners. And this is going to be an interesting game. I mean, obviously, you have all the history that goes into it. I believe it is played. Yeah, it's played at the Cotton Bowl. So this will be what? That's in Dallas now?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not played at the original Cotton Bowl. They play it at Jerry World now, I think.
No, it's at the original.
No? Oh, it's at the original Cotton Bowl still. Because I know the Cotton Bowl isn't at the original Cotton Bowl.
No, you're thinking of the bowl game itself, but the actual stadium.
Yeah.
The actual stadium, I'm trying to look this up, but I don't believe it has lights. So that's why they play this game at 2:30. You might want to double check me on that, but I'm looking up location here.
Yeah, it's in Dallas. I know that. 46,000 seats.
Yeah, it's not at Jerry World. It's at the
Well,
original.
it looks like they, in pictures, it looks like they can bring in lights, like kind of how they used to do it at the Horseshoe before they put permanent lights up at the Horseshoe. But they probably don't play a lot of the night games.
That makes you sound really old, Carter.
What, did you not know that they didn't always have lights at the Horseshoe?
Well, I know. I always knew that they had like the temporary lights, but
yeah, they would bring them in, and they're just like on carts outside the stadium.
When did they install permanent lights at the Horseshoe?
I have no idea. I think when Urban got here, honestly. No, it might have been before that. But I know Urban's big thing, because before Urban, they didn't want to play night games at the Shoe. Part of the reason for a long time was because they didn't have lights, so they'd have to bring in lights, which was annoying. But part of Urban's big thing with Ohio State was like, listen, if I'm coming, we're doing night games. Like, we want night games at the Shoe, because Urban loves night games.
Richie's just lobbing insults right now.
There we go. Attaboy, Richie. It is common knowledge. I'm not old because I know that the Horseshoe didn't have permanent lights for a long time.
Well, I'm also sorry that, I didn't, graduate college when I was graduating high school.
That would be really hard to do.
Well, I'm just saying,
I know I'm older than you. I got you.
See, it was before Urban got there.
Yeah, I know. I said it might have been, but I just remember Urban being a real pusher for night games is what I was trying to say.
And a new team plane.
Well, yeah, he and a NetJets subscription or whatever. But so this Saturday, 3:30, Texas, Oklahoma. Arch Manning, I believe, is getting the start again, or is Quinn back?
I believe Quinn is starting.
So that's big. Quinn's first game back. Obviously, Arch looked fine. He handled business, but it'll be a interesting matchup because you're going to have Sarkisian's offense versus Venables' defense, and Venables' defense has been pretty good so far this year. I mean, they were able to hang in there against was it Georgia? No, Tennessee. They held Tennessee to 25 points. Obviously, Arkansas showed it's not that hard to hold Tennessee to low points, but I still think Tennessee's offense is excellent. I think Texas has a really good passing game. Their running game leaves a little to be desired. Because of all the injuries. They lost like 7 running backs this offseason. But I mean, it's going to be a fun game. That one's one I'm definitely going to have on one of the screens. Obviously, there are so many games on this weekend in all the windows that it's a weekend where you need to have multiple screens, and you got to have if you got YouTube TV, get the multi-view going on one screen, and then get your main game a full screen on another, whatever you got to do. But yeah, this one's going to be fun. And I believe Texas is favored by 14.5, which I thought was high.
I think that's really high for a rivalry game, and I like Oklahoma in the hook there.
Yeah, I do too. I like Oklahoma to cover the 14.5. I think Texas wins the game. I'll be really interested to see, though, because everybody's kind of giving Texas a lot of credit as the best team in football, the best team but I mean, if you're honest about their schedule, they've played nobody.
Well, I was going to bring that up too, and also whenever it comes down to this, let's remember, I believe it was 2007 where at a certain point in the season, every team that got put at number 1 lost.
Yeah.
Because you had Pitt, West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
There was like 5 or 6 other teams that were number 1 and that lost going into the end of the season.
I do. So, I recall that. And Ohio State hasn't been number 1 yet, right?
No, they have not.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, this might be the week that they jump to number 1, especially if it's a close game between Oklahoma and Texas, and if Ohio State goes and takes care of business. But you look at Texas's schedule: Mississippi State's trash, ULM trash. I don't even know who.
Whoa! Easy on the Warhawks. Easy on the Warhawks.
Trash. Sorry.
Easy on the Warhawks, man.
UTSA trash. Michigan's trash. I'm sorry. Like, I know it's a top 10 win, but they're trash. They just lost again last week. They're probably going to lose again here in the next couple weeks. Colorado State's trash. They haven't played a good team. And this is kind of what everybody was saying about Tennessee going into the Oklahoma game, was that Tennessee hadn't played anybody.
Old Miss.
What about Ole Miss?
Because if you look up their 4 conference opponents that they had played before they played Kentucky, they didn't play anybody.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah,
Middle Tennessee, Wake Forest. It's just
Yeah, no, it was trash, and that's the same thing. Tennessee hadn't played anybody. Then they played Oklahoma, and they had a tough game. I mean, they won 25-15, but it wasn't a walk in the park. And it was actually closer than the score looked. So I think Oklahoma gives Texas a game here. I do think Texas walks away with the win. I think they probably outlast them, and just if Quinn Ewers comes back and doesn't miss a beat, I think they win by a touchdown.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close game. It could be could be that. It could either be, but I think out of the last 7 or 8 times Texas has played Oklahoma, Oklahoma's beat them. So
yeah,
that's just where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree completely. A lot of other games that we'll break down, I think, later in this week. I know Richie and you are going live tomorrow night, I believe, and then you and I are planning to do something Friday. So we'll break down more of the games as we get into the week. I just wanted to touch on those few ones. And then we'll jump into some Notre Dame talk and give you a little bit of that payoff on the graphic and everything like that. And then I think Friday's show will really dive into Notre Dame versus Stanford. Obviously, Notre Dame favored by 23.5. And we can dive into that a little bit more on Friday's show. But there was, obviously, we had a press conference on Monday, which we talked about injuries and things like that. And then Denbrock and Al Golden have given some comments over the past couple days. So I just want to talk about kind of what's going on with the Fighting Irish right now. Obviously, the big news that we talked about Monday and has recently obviously been a developing story is that Boubacar Traore is out for the year with a ACL. He is an outstanding defensive end, viper position, rush guy, and he really he got the starting role because of another injury. I forget the kid's name right now. Bowen, I believe, was the starter at that position coming into the year, got injured in the Purdue game. Boubacar went out, took over the position, and really was stepping into his own and flourishing. And then he goes down in the Louisville game, tears his ACL. He's going to be done for the year. So it's more bad news for Notre Dame as far as injuries go. The depth at this position is going to be really tested. They have junior Tuialamaka, who is a junior. And try saying that name 5 times fast. You can't. But he stepped in, and he's really, I think, going to be the main Viper or the main guy that replaces Traore. And a lot of confidence in him as a junior guy with a little bit of experience. Hasn't played a whole lot in his career, but he's been around the program for a while. And so he understands the defense. He knows what's going on. And he stepped in. And then the true freshman, I believe, Logan Thomas is the other one that's really going to be stepping in and being that kind of, giving Tuialamaka some time off. And those two guys are going to have to step up big for this defense. This defense already is, I think it still has the potential to be one of the best defenses in the country. It has not shown it on a consistent basis. They need to eliminate big plays, and they got to stop the run. I did not anticipate stopping the run being a huge issue for this defense, but it has been so far. And losing more defensive linemen and linebackers is not going to help that cause. And then Joshua Burnham is the other guy that can kind of flip back and forth between rush end and Viper position and play a little bit of both. So I think overall, I think they'll be okay. But that was the big injury news, and we have some clarity on who's going to be stepping in to fill those roles as well. I mean, it's a big loss, but I don't think it's one they can't overcome. They have enough depth and talent on this roster that if they need to, they can move some people away like Joshua Burnham and let people like that play.
Yeah, they got to fit the run better.
For sure.
Primarily, I think a lot of, if you go back to what Northern Illinois did, they did a lot of that that tight end extra, kind of like what Urban and Mullen did. They would, have that H back, and they would, send a guard or a tackle through the hole, and they're just outplussing you on the hats, on that side of the ball.
Yeah, which is interesting because that's not a new concept. So I don't know why Notre Dame wouldn't be ready for that. Like, that's not new. Like, that's not something that wasn't on tape. I'm pretty sure Northern Illinois has done that in the past. Like, but yeah, their run fits aren't great. KVA and the linebackers need to get a little bit better at filling their run responsibilities and actually making plays because missed tackles are killing them right now. And then eliminating the big play. The secondary has been really good. The secondary's banged up again. Morrison's going to be okay. Christian Gray's supposed to be back, so that's good. Obviously, they had the defensive back that left the program to enter the transfer portal, so they're a little thin at corner right now. Xavier Watts has been phenomenal and things like that. But there's they need to get better production out of those linebackers specifically. In the run game and making tackles because too many missed tackles are killing them on defense. And then flipping over to the offensive side of the ball. And, we were not going to spend a whole lot of time on it because it's been well documented on this show how we feel about the offense's production and kind of where the holes are: offensive line, wide receiver. Those are your two major problems. Quarterback play hasn't been exceptional in the passing game, has been in the running game. Got it. But Mike Denbrock says the time is now for Leonard in the offense. So we've seen glimpses of what it can really turn into and become. And we're about at that point in the season when it's time to kick that into gear. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm just thinking about why Steve Angeli has almost more passing touchdowns than the starter does. Maybe why Jeremiah Love doesn't have more carries than the quarterback. There's a lot that is to be desired there. Some people thought before the season that the wide receiver room was great. I have not changed my tune. I don't think it's great. I don't think the whole offensive, whole offensive scheme is just not very good. And you're banged up at offensive line.
Real bad, yeah.
It's pretty much playing with like me, you, and 3 listeners out there. And then you have Riley Leonard, that is one of the most inaccurate passers ever. I don't know if he's right or left-handed. It's hard to decipher that. And then whenever he's running for his life and you're running him, 15 times a game, that's your best offensive play. And if I'm Stanford, I see the spread as 23.5. I would take Stanford.
Stanford, they beat Syracuse. They've had a couple good games, and we'll dive more into Stanford and that in the preview show on Friday. But as far as the offense goes, my main thing with this, when I see quotes like this, and I get it, it's a coach trying to, get it out there and tell his guys, show confidence in his guys and everything like that. I understand what he's doing, and I get why he's doing it. I have no problem with it. What do you mean we're at the point in the season where it's time to kick that into gear? Dude, it's time to kick it into gear week 1. You had all off season to get them ready. Now, I know you didn't have Riley Leonard for the spring, but what do you mean it's time? It's that point in the season? No, that point in the season is before you lose to Northern Illinois. That's for goddamn sure. You got to kick it into gear then.
And then when you do play Northern Illinois, you only score 14 points.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, don't tell me what this offense. It's giving me PTSD of what I hear out of Cleveland every fucking week. Well, Deshaun shows potential. I don't care about potential. Show me it on the field. I don't care that he can throw a dime pass in without a rush on on routes on air in practice. Great. Do it in a game.
Well, see, this is the other thing that, I don't think we're going to disagree on this, and you might be a little upset that I'm putting this out publicly, but this is what happens when you have the pay for sites, the guys that watch practice that have literally outside of the former players that go watch. I would say this is what happens when you put stuff behind the paywall. And the Deuce Knight saga should be enough of that. I am literally a guy that, does something else for a living and talk to enough people. I knew the deal was done in August. That's why we put it on the thumbnail.
Mm-hmm.
The deal was done. He wasn't coming. Like, get over it. Notre Dame got played. This is just a laundry list of things that I have issues with. So you're going to with Jack Shields, I think his name is, you're either going to get serious about winning football games or you're not. And if you're not, go down to FCS and you know what? You can have your patented degree and do the whole Notre Dame thing all you want. But all I'm saying is that you're either going to get serious about NIL, and it is pay for play. Some people don't like it. This is what it is. This is all it's going to be. And that's what it's going to be going forward. And you're going to have $20 million. You're either going to spend it on football or you're not. And you can't tell me there ain't a top 10 team, if you look at the top 25 rankings, that's not spending significant funds on NIL. You're knocking on the doors of having the same recruiting class as Michigan. You mean to tell me Hugh Freeze, that's throwing players under the bus, he's having former players like Bo Wallace come out and go crazy on post-game shows about how Hugh Freeze won't take responsibility and he just stole your biggest recruit? Are you kidding me? Spend some money. Get off of it. You can't take it with you. I don't know. Hit up the Pope. Figure it out. I'm just sick and tired of hearing we're going to do this in recruiting. We're going to do that in recruiting. Well, you ain't doing shit. Look at your wide receiver recruiting. Look at it. It's horrendous. And then you fired Stuckey, and it's done nothing but gone downhill. You can't throw a goddamn forward pass to save your life. And then the paid sites tried to tell us and discredit us and say, we don't know what we're talking about. Look at the fucking numbers. Look at the numbers. That tells you everything. In a loss to Northern Illinois. Why are you losing to Northern Illinois? Because you don't have players. You don't have the guys that can make dynamic plays. And you only beat Miami of Ohio is because they were inept on offense. And Louisville is a better football team than Notre Dame. There, I said it. If Louisville doesn't turn the ball over, that is a fact. Louisville probably beats them by 2 touchdowns. But I am at the point to where I'm sick and tired of seeing advertisements for join the insider stuff. Join the insider stuff. What the hell do you need to be an insider for when you see it every Saturday? Running the quarterback 20 times a game? Are you fucking shitting me? That's not an offensive game plan. You're paying this guy $2 million? Go out there and lose to Stanford and see how hot that seat is, Marcus. Yeah. Or everybody at Notre Dame is dumb, because I'm tired of seeing it. I am tired of no offensive production. There is none.
Yep. I agree completely. And I think that's, comments like this that just piss me off, because it's like, dude, it should have been done already. Like, I get it. Okay, cool. I hope you're right. I hope Denbrock's right. I hope it kicks into gear and we see that Riley Leonard that everybody's been telling us is a Heisman candidate, a potential draft pick, all that crap. But I haven't seen it once. Not once.
Well, it's just I'm not trying to get mad or yell at you directly, Carter, even though I'm talking to you. But at some point, you have to look in the mirror and say, well, maybe we fucked up.
Yep.
We got the wrong guy, because Cam Ward's slinging the ball all over the fucking yard in Miami. Yeah. Dylan Gabriel's looking pretty good. Will Howard's looking pretty good. And you just got beat. You just got your ass beat by Hugh Freeze, one of the biggest phonies in the SEC.
Yep.
And I know I'm probably going to get a text or something about that, but Hugh Freeze is a phony. He throws 100%. Players under the bus. Bo Wallace said it. You know how many shots I took for this guy, and he wouldn't give me any credit at all. The only thing he would do when things went great was go out there, and I was winning him $100,000 bonuses. That's not my words. That's Bo Wallace's words. That's somebody that played for him. And I just, every week we sit here and it's like we're almost pounding our head into the wall.
Oh, I agree. It feels like we're beating a dead horse. Like, we're saying the same shit and nothing's changing.
And nobody realizes it, because if you look at everybody writing about it, this has the potential. This has the potential. You know what? I got the potential to kick you in the nuts. Do I do it? No. But what the fuck are we doing?
Well, that's a topic maybe for another day. Is I don't know where they see it. I mean, maybe it's in practice. I don't watch practice, so maybe it's in practice and they see this great potential. I don't see it. Well, I've watched every single game multiple times, all 22 film and TV copy. Watched them all. And I don't see any potential.
At some point, you have to do what you're doing in practice in the damn game.
That's what I'm saying.
Then what the hell's then what are we doing here?
Yeah. And I would love to be proven wrong. I would love nothing more than be proven wrong. And for Riley Leonard to go out Saturday, throw for 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, and look like an NFL quarterback. If I had to put money on it, I'm putting a whole lot of money on that doesn't happen.
Well, at some point we've got to do you got to do something. You got to, it's like that meme where that guy's poking the person on the ground. Do something.
Yeah.
Okay. And the schedule sucks for everybody that says that. Oh, they got wins here, wins there. Okay, you beat up on some MAC teams. Congratulations, you beat Stanford. You beat Texas A&M week 1. I bet if we rolled the balls out and played in a parking lot in Plymouth, I bet the result of that game's different.
Probably.
Because the teams are 2 totally different teams. So Notre Dame controls its own destiny, but at some point, is going to the playoff going to be worth it? If let's say you just draw Miami or Clemson, and you get beat 30-0 because you can't do anything on offense?
No, that's not worth it. And that's why I said, I mean, that we've said it from the start that the goal is not to make the playoffs. You have to win a game in the playoffs. Like, making the playoffs isn't good enough anymore. Like that was good enough when it was 4 teams. Now that it's 12, it should be a given. You should be in playoff contention every year. It's time to actually win a game that matters. Notre Dame
Yeah.
hasn't done that since 1989.
Or not even that, but just, be formidable.
Yeah.
Be a top 10 team. Because it's a national brand. It has a national TV contract. And what are you selling to recruits? Hey, we're going to go out and beat Miami of Ohio. We're going to play Northern Illinois. We're going to play Marshall. We're going to play Cal. Even though Cal, almost beat Miami this year. But I'm talking in years past. I don't know. Am I missing something here, or am I just,
Well, that's why that week 1 game against Texas A&M was so massive, because it was an opportunity to go show the world we can compete on an SEC stage, and they did that. I can't take that away from them. They did that, but you followed it up by losing to fucking Northern Illinois. So all the goodwill you just earned by beating Texas A&M, gone.
Yeah, and you beat Louisville, okay. But
I don't give a fuck about beating Louisville. I'm sorry. That doesn't move the needle for anybody in the world.
No, it doesn't. Now, when Louisville beats you, that's a problem.
Yeah,
and
go beat them in basketball. Maybe people will care.
I have had it up to here with the people that say, Notre Dame does control its own destiny to a certain extent. But at some point, you have to shit or get off the pot when it comes to offense, and you're paying this guy $2 million for 5 fucking touchdown passes between 2 guys, and you paid all these guys in the portal that haven't done dick. It's unbelievable, man. If I was Notre Dame, I'd ask for a fucking refund.
Hey, they still got the rest of the year to figure it out. I won't ask for a refund yet, but if I'm a booster that donated money, I'm watching real closely the rest of the year.
I mean, you got to do something. Okay, you went and you flipped a guy that all the people from all the recruiting guru experts that didn't see the Deuce Knight train coming said, yeah, we stole this kid from Alabama. Okay, he was committed to USF, South Florida. Mm-hmm. Well, he plays quarterback, and we're going to make him a receiver? Okay, so how long is that going to take? That's a developmental project.
Yeah, I don't know. Richie, thank you for bringing the comedic relief, but I can promise you Colin Smith could not play quarterback better than Riley Leonard. A lot of people could. Colin is not one of them.
It just, I have tempered the judgment very, very mildly, and I've just had enough. I was reading some stuff today before I hopped in the show, and I said I've had enough. I've had enough.
Hey, I can tell. I'm here for it, man. At some point, somebody's got to hold these people accountable, right? And why not us?
It's just, I do 9-3's the ceiling or the floor. 11-1 is the ceiling. Okay, great. You beat a bunch of nobodies, and then you go in the playoffs and get fucking boat raced. What good does that do you? It doesn't help you in recruiting, because if I'm going to negatively recruit, if I'm Alabama or somebody like that, I'm going to say, okay, go to Notre Dame. Go to South Bend, Indiana. Let me know how that is in January. And you don't have a winning football team. You have a winning football team, but you're beating a cast of nobodies. It's just at some point, somebody has got to stand up and say, time out. What are we spending money on? Because if you look at the receiver stats, I was told before the season that half these guys at Notre Dame could play at Ohio State. Go look at the stats. They're on the show Twitter. You tell me.
Yeah, no, I was very adamant that not a single one of these guys would ever see the field at Ohio State, and that's a fact. I don't care what anybody else says. I don't know if you see the guys they have at Ohio State. One of them's 17, 18 years old and looks like fucking Megatron. Sorry, Bo Collins ain't seeing the field.
Go just on the offensive side of the ball. Just go look at the guys that play at Ohio State and look at the guys that play at Notre Dame.
Listen, there's only one offensive starter. Let me make sure of this. Yeah, only one offensive starter at Notre Dame that would play at Ohio State right now. Mitchell Evans. That's it.
Yeah, because he's a tight end.
Yeah, well, because Ohio State sucks at tight end, and Mitchell Evans is great. Don't get me wrong. If he's healthy, he's great. But I don't even think there's any linemen that would start at Ohio State right now because Ohio State's line actually looks pretty good. Will Howard's definitely starting. Quinshawn and Trey are starting. All the receivers are starting over every receiver on Notre Dame's roster. That's not even close. So, yeah, sorry. Now, there's some guys on defense that could play. KVA would play. Benjamin Morrison definitely starting. But
it just I've tampered the expectations down so long that I am tired of hearing the people say, well, it's the same song and dance every goddamn week. The potential, the potential, the potential. Well, what the fuck are we going to say at the end of the season? What potential? That's all I'm saying.
I'll tell you what they'll say. They never realize their potential because that's where we're headed. And the bottom line is we sit here every week. We do at least 2-3 shows a week, sometimes up to 6. And unfortunately, as the person that writes the show, it gets real fucking boring writing the same goddamn show every week. The recap of the game is so fucking annoying because I literally can just copy and paste it from week to week. Where it's just Notre Dame won. Riley Leonard looked okay running the ball. He couldn't throw very well. It's the same fucking thing every week. And then the coaches come out and say, well, this is what we worked on in the bye week. This is where we're going. And it's like, dude, I get it. I understand that's what you have to do as a coach. I get that part of it. But at some point, you just got to go, listen, this is who we are. We're going to win games because we are more talented than our opponents. We're going to win games the way we win games, which is by running the football and running the quarterback. And our defense needs to step up and be absolutely elite, or else we have no shot against any superior teams.
None whatsoever. And, we're probably going to get clipped up and somebody's going to get butthurt about it or say that we don't know what we're talking about. But go look at the offensive numbers. You can take it out of context.
Bitch, I promise you I know what I'm talking about.
Go look at the offensive numbers and you tell me. Because people want to criticize and say a lot of things behind the screen, and you know what? If somebody, I would even be open to bringing somebody on the show that wants to argue this with me because I don't think that line will be very long. One, for people that want to get on camera, and two, that have any knowledge or facts in this matter. And you could be the dumbest person in the world and just look at the goddamn numbers at some point.
Yeah.
That tells you everything you need to know.
Yep, I agree. But we will save a lot of the analysis and breakdown of the Notre Dame game for Friday's show. Along with, we'll break down some of the other big games coming up this weekend. We got to a couple of them, today, and we'll break down a couple more Friday. Maybe you and Richie break down a couple tomorrow, as well as some other things that you guys have going on. But everybody listening, I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you're on Twitter, please go over to the YouTube channel, like and subscribe, hit the little bell so that you get a notification when we go live so you can join in the conversation. We got quite a few guys in the chat here tonight, interacting with us, giving us some good feedback and stats and things like that. Jump in the chat, talk some shit to each other or to us. I don't care.
Yep. With that being said, couldn't have said it better, Carter. Thanks everybody for watching tonight, and we're going to be back tomorrow, Friday and Saturday. So we'll keep it moving and see if we can get something figured out. So with that being said, everybody have a good night.